Dota 2 is coming to a crossroad. Sumail, one of the game's most storied players, has announced his plans to retire after an emotional exit from the International 2026. And I think the typical way to remember Sumail will be to drum up the drama of his career. How he was cocky and controversial, a great showman, and sometimes a great heel.
I mean, is RTZ better than you?
He is.
How about S4?
No, I don't think so.
We name you the new Storm Spirit as Sumail. What do you think of that?
I think I deserve it.
But true veteran players, those who played in at least half of prior TIs, are almost extinct. Only 3 such veteran players reached TI's main stage this year. With Sumail anticipating retirement and Crit hinting that he may also leave the game, only Snaking remains as a top-tier active true veteran in Dota 2. Before we go into the next generation, as the king steps away, I thought it would be truly excellent for us to take some time and appreciate the moments as well as the stats that made up his illustrious career.
Feeling anybody on EG's impact right now.
Yeah, and it's going to get even worse with that Orchid over on the quad, so you're going a Bloodstone build in the Storm Spirit. Speaking of which, here he goes, and he got it! He picks up the Aegis and killed off Roshan! They managed to get the Storm Spirit down. Universe will drop as well. How much damage? March, he can't get out of here. He's trapped into a pit of death. Nuts as well is going to drop in some mail. Well, you asked for an effect of a hero.
Sumail, the king, is an icon. A truly stunning 8.4% of all his professional games were no-death wins. Although this is fairly average for mids with over 250 professional games, Sumail achieved it despite playing in the highest levels of Dota from his very first month. And that's something hard to account for in the stats alone. Not only has Sumail been dominant through most of his career, but more than almost any other player in history, he's played his entire career against the best of the best from his very first outing.
So we have our 15-year-old prodigy, Sumail. He just moved to the US 6 months ago from Pakistan, so he's really excited to get into the scene.
Sumail going ham and gets the bolas off, gets the searing chains off. DDC caught him with the ice path, doesn't matter. Yeah. Flame Guard gets the job done. Behind that, we've got Yang in ulti form, ready to try to run someone down. There's going to be another good cast, good bounces as well. And Yang trying to pursue them down. Yeah, he just fed. ZYF just said, "Are you hungry? I got something for you."
Living armor did absolutely nothing. The heal actually from Witch Doctor was pretty impressive, but the living armor itself did, close to nothing. Here comes Mushi TPing in.
PPD's right there. He's going to hit him with the leech seed. And Fear being pursued out. There's going to be the overgrowth for Steph on the Mushi. DDC looking for a target. Can't find one. Sumail's there. Beautiful usage of the air spike and the ulti from Mushi. Ice pass shot got 2. Sumail has to get out. PPD hanging right around. Hell no, he's not going anywhere. He's going to bottle up and go for the kill and got it. That's 3 down while Fear cleaned house behind the tier 2.
The caliber of his opposition is clear when you look at his most faced opponents. His most faced foe was the legendary Puppey, the only player to reach every TI from his win at the very first blush until the silver medal at TI 2022. Now he's the coach for this year's TI runner-ups, Team Vision. Puppey is arguably the fiercest competitor in Dota 2 history. Every element of Dota, both in and out of the game, is Puppey's specialty. When you play him, you are also playing the team that Puppey handcrafted to be a championship tier, balanced, and uniquely strategic set of players. Despite often coming in as the underdog in these games, Sumail beat Puppey's team more than statistically expected based on rating. Over his career, Sumail's team farmed over 100 net Glicko from Puppey. Sumail's been playing Dota for a long time now, and the breadth of that career means that he's actually played both with and against almost all of his top rivals. And we can directly compare how players fared with Sumail versus against him. Except Puppey, all of his top rivals, Zai, Kuroki, Mind Control, no one, gained more ranking points playing with him than they ever did playing against him.
As Matumba still has Aegis. He's got the Illusionist Cape too. Charges forward, looking for the no-tail kill again. Can they get it? Burrow straight forward, looking for the commitment. Seb still holding on to that epicenter. Not that it matters all that much as Gyro decrept again, healed again. Is it going to be enough? Sumail, Satanic in 1 second. Can he get it off? He can. The Burrow through. He holds his ground.
He's doing it.
No way. Sumail, he's gotten 3. PL is coming back. Nisha's on the run. He can force him down. That's 4. Matumba's the last man standing. Can they kill him off? Decrep, suck, stun. He gets off the Abyssal. He charges the other way. Matumba trying to find the kills. Where are they? They're nowhere. It's the Chen stun follow up with the net. They're gonna do it. They get all 5.
No freaking
Holy
way.
shit.
He's ignoring the fight.
No, he can't kill
He's
him off.
dragging them, LD.
Oh, the Decrepify. Sumail's ending the game. OG going for the jugular. Can they do it? Keeping the throne alive for now, but Puppy standing his ground. Look at it go. There's the Taunt. It's too much regen. The Taunt storm coming through. Sumail's still full HP. It's an Echo. They're throwing everything. The kitchen sink, the refrigerator, the oven. It doesn't matter. OG will not be denied. 4 heroes dead. It's going to be 5. It's a wipe. It's an ultra kill. It's a win for OG.
Despite going out as a carry player, Sumail's best years and most iconic moments were from the mid lane. And his stats from mid speak for themselves. Of players with at least 300 pro games, Sumail had by far the largest average lane advantage, 2 standard deviations above the rest of mid laners. That's because, in part, his teams heavily invest in his success. Sumail was picked to fill the void of Arteezy, arguably the world's first true farming mid player. Prior to Arteezy, mids generally functioned as the playmaker and pace setter in a game, prioritizing opening spaces and creating opportunities. 2014 Evil Geniuses shifted that responsibility largely onto offlaner Universe, and gave the farming carry less defensive priority, focusing on maximizing how the mid lane could absorb net worth and bring the team to victory later on. From the very beginning, Sumail stepped into this strange environment where all eyes and the very success of his team would be on his shoulders. He was just 15, and only weeks into playing Pro Dota, Sumail was the linchpin of Evil Genius's winning run at Dota's first ever Proto Major, the Dota 2 Asia Championship. And he continued to be the centerpiece of that strategy through their 2015 TI win and the top 4 finishes at 5 of 6 consecutive Dota Pro Circuit events afterwards. This was the deal Sumail made with his team. If you can handle the weight of playing with me, I will win you the game. And through most of his career, particularly as a mid player, he held up his part of the deal. He even won over a dozen games where every one of his teammates ended the laning phase below the opponent net worth average. Still, Sumail finds a way. Out of all the best mids in history, those who reached top 4 at TI at least once, Sumail is 7th most likely to win a game where his allies lost their lanes. Sumail's team won more than 1 in 3 games where his teammates lost their lanes by a little bit, and nearly 1 in 5 games where his teammates lost their lanes by over 25%. There are very few players in the history of Dota who could succeed under this kind of pressure. Yes, in a lot of his career, it was almost like he had 4 supports on his team, and that does make it easier to succeed. But the flip side is, your opponents know exactly how to win with this strategy. You just shut down that one player. For it to work, you need to be unstoppable. No amount of rotations or counter picks or pocket strategies can slow you down. And for Sumail, that really was the case.
And moving into the pit, the Hawks gonna scout it. They know what's up. Do they want to bring in the AM? Is it worth the buyback? Otherwise, this Roche will die far too soon. Sumail's in position. He could go for the blanket. He could go for the RP. He could go for the Aegis. He's gonna try. Oh, he's gonna get it. He snatches it. And oh my God, he dies fast. Can they get him on round 2? At least denied it to OG. Sumail, RP, skewer him out, pile him in, into the curse. Where's the back?
Sumail has a disgustingly large hero pool, and he doesn't mind being counterpicked. That's not something I'm deriving from the stats or inferring. This is a direct quote from Insania.
option open. Whereas with Sumail, I feel like he's a bit more of an honest mid laner. So he's just like, pick me this hero, I'll destroy anyone. I don't care what they play. Like, it doesn't matter. And then sometimes like the matchup will be more even because like the other guy has a counter pick on him. But generally speaking, it will always go well.
The combination of his breadth of heroes and confidence, along with his ability to play even when countered, left opponents with no options. Sumail is the 60th in ban priority compared to other mid players. That's incredibly low for a mid player with his kind of longevity and success. For most of his career, Sumail was trashing world-class mid players on heroes that he didn't even practice. Now a coach for this year's TI winners, Milan started playing pro just months before Sumail. After 3 years of competing against each other, he said, Sumail is an authority. He doesn't need to play or practice, and he'd still beat me on certain heroes. That's because Sumail's diversity is frankly stunning. Having played nearly every hero at some stage in his career, Sumail's most played hero changed almost every year that he played, with only Storm Spirit and Puck maintaining a top 3 most played hero for at least half of his competitive years.
The Brew's dead. Now EG have to get out of there, jump forward, they'll pop the Lincoln, Sumail's got to be careful, he'll get himself away, Crit's still left behind though, the Shaker trying to hide in the trees, but there's the tree and Sal surrounding Crit, does pop the cheese, back up, he's got the Echo, he's trying to turn, but there's the silence to Heg, he's dead, Sumail came back in, but the Boris Shrek catches him out, Spirit Vessel upon him, will put the man to try to get away with the Sprout, controls him into the SK, tries to escape, but he can't. Team's here. Fly and Arteezy, can they help him against the full lineup of NIB Saxa? There's the epicenter moving in, Arteezy starts to hit towards Saxa, Sumail, BKB pop, zips in, Silence catches out 33, but 33 goes for the TP scroll, he's out of there. Artur and Fly have to be careful, Sumail's BKB's about to end, he'll get Saxa, nuke down Fodder as well with the E-Blade.
Sumail is a killing machine. Only 3 players in history from any role have more games with double-digit kill counts. Somnus, No One, and Mickey. Sumail was, at times, too good. The fact that he couldn't really be drafted against put more pressure on his teammates, and bans and counter picks often targeted them instead. The most banned hero against Sumail across his entire career is Io, targeting his teammates Crit and GH. His expertise in lane meant that Sumail couldn't be shut out or forced away, and that made mid laners reprioritize how they wanted to approach the game. Often against Sumail's team, mid laners would rotate more and more heavily prioritize putting pressure on anybody other than Sumail. Throughout his career, he left most teams better rated than they were when he joined. And in the cases where he didn't, the team usually hit a pretty high rating peak at some time during his tenure. OG is the exception here because he joined at a ratings peak just after they won their 2nd consecutive TI, but they were getting a almost completely new roster, and a rating reset was inevitable. But this was a brand new squad, basically a new team. Despite their struggles and Sumail's quick removal from the roster, if you consider them a freshly rated team, they still climbed rating during Sumail's short tenure. Throughout his career, Sumail's personality, his brilliant approach to the game, and his strong communication skills were often heralded by his teammates.
Sumail is one of the best teammates you could ask for in terms of many things. Like on the human aspect, there's no finger to put on, and on the Dota aspect, I'd have to mention how nice it is to have a core player being able to talk about Dota, being able to describe and put words on what you like, what you see, what you're doing. It's a treat. It's a dream.
I was a bit surprised by the fact that Sumail doesn't have that many career records for such a legendary player. When I recently did the analysis with SVG on trying to measure the most dominant mid players at their peaks, Sumail's name rarely came up in the normalized stats across eras. But what makes Sumail great is his improvisation, adaptability, and impact. It is the return on investment a team gets for truly believing in the king. These charts will show you his performance against contemporaries in a 60-game rolling average. Net worth versus lane opponent net worth at 10 minutes is a reasonably good measure for how often a player was winning their lane, and that normalizes regardless of how much gold is typically on the map. Even the very best players in Dota history generally were not beating Sumail in all 4 metrics at any specific time. Maureen, Miracle, Nisha, Quinn, and sometimes others may have beaten him in GPM, or kill participation, or hero damage. Some periods they may edge him out in all 3 of those metrics. But it was very rare for any player to consistently win their lane more than the King did.
Not sure if he's going to back away to it now with the wave coming.
Lover very low. Starstorm's there, and it's a first blood for Sumail. Oh no, this is so bad for the Storm Spirit. Lover gets tossed back to the other side, right into the Starstorm. Only level 4, no way to survive, no zip available, and it's another one. Necro's so brutal to play against when you have this kind of start. Mid lane, Ogre's made the rotation. Sumail gets low, but has a leap, makes it back under his tower, and now Crit comes the other way, tosses the Storm under the tower. Sumail very low, but it's going to be another kill on the Lover. 3 deaths for the is rewarded.
All right, but in the mid lane, they're going to get the tower because of all this. However, Fly looks like he's going to lose his
life.
life.
As well, only level 4 as Sumail jumps forward, trying to find him in the trees. We'll be able to finish him off. So they do go 1-for-1 with the supports.
If you want to really understand how dominant Sumail was over his career, nothing shows that as well as career cumulative lanes won. This is a simple count of how many lanes he won by at least 5% net worth, minus how many lanes he lost by that same margin. Lots of players have career spikes, but few have sustained performance like Sumail. But there's only one player in all of Dota history who won more mid lanes than Sumail. That one player to top him is no one. Seeing his whole career laid out in this perspective, it really shows you why he commands so much respect from his peers.
Actually do help Saksa get out. So many brambles, now silence. Carl's in trouble. Sumail is here to finish him off. The Ravage comes just a bit too late. They might be able to finish off Zev. They will, but it's going to be costing them 2 at least. Now they get the duel off, but Sumail, he's just going to keep on swinging on these heroes. They are getting torn apart by 23 Savage and kited around a little bit. Sumail has nowhere to go, so he's just going to commit for the kill on a Cuckoo continue challenging. 23 Savage is up next. Now the Doom is faded away, so he can throw out the Avalanche, and Jesus, ultra kill. Rampage on the way for Sumail. The King is big and back in play here at TI. Rampage for Sumail, and T1 are not going to call it just quit. They're going to be able to put double rampage for him. Give him the triple, perhaps. Saksa helping him out, trying to keep Cuckoo in place here, and T1 are going to call it here. They get the kill on Saksa first, and that is it. Triple rampage, Sumail.
Sumail never quite found the same success playing from the safe lane that he did from mid. In terms of lanes won, he hit a relatively quick peak, accelerating fast up to plus 60, but then he declined down to about 50 net, and he spent most of his last 100 games trading career even with a new generation of competitors. I don't think there's any argument that Sumail is the best or one of the best farming carries to ever play the game. But I do think he's been much more reliable and successful for much longer than most people realize. Many other TI champions who actually went to TI and won as farming carries fared much worse on the back half of their careers, including Havost, No-Tail, Loda, and Anna, at least in terms of their lanes won. And I am just frankly not convinced that the story would be over for Sumail if he wanted to keep playing. Yes, he has really struggled relative to his standards in the last few years. And yes, the skill gap has closed with new generation, such that a player as dominant as Sumail originally was may never be possible again. But the King has decided to go out even while he's still competitively in play in the final stage of the International. And that is just frankly not how washed players go.
Really wanting to get it. RTZ still very under front for his team, just the phase drum.
They can't leave this rush. It's at half health, and Sumail.
Thompson's is dead.
He just finds the Zeus Sebs in with the two-man Who's-Up. They've got the Supernova at the sideline as well here. Can they take it down in time? Now OG's got to back away from the Supernova. Seb trying to TP out, will be able to escape, but OG lose 2. Sumail again, double kill. 16, 1 and 2, and Chris, magic missile. He's able to find Anna. Anna was trying to heal some Mokol as Sumail comes in for the triple kill.
17, 1 and 2. Just
17, 1 and 2.
19 of the 21 kills.
Oh, give him another one. Sumail, another ultra kill.
This animation looks like a lot, but it's pretty simple. Every Dota player is a dot around Sumail. The players he played with are on the left, and the players he played against are on the right. Every game he plays with or against a player moves them higher on the orbit. The players at the top are his longest running allies or most common rivals cumulatively across his entire career. The players closest to him are the ones he's played with most recently, and the largest ally circles are his most recent team. Brighter dots are players that Sumail had more raw wins with or against, whereas darker allies were allies Sumail did not win a lot with, and darker rivals are the ones that beat Sumail more. On the right, a graph will say what elo he's gained cumulatively across every game he's played with or against any team, color-coded by which team he was playing with at the time. I really love the perspective that you get when you just see it all laid out. Here is a simpler visual at the end of his career, how well Sumail did with each of his most common allies, and how well he did against each of his most common opponents, based on total ranking gained. The irony of being one of the best is there is no good time to retire. This is a struggle all the greats have faced. Retiring after a championship win feels like leaving in your prime. Retiring after you've started to decline feels like overstaying your welcome and possibly ruining your legacy. I'm sure this conflict is part of the pain that Sumail has felt when dealing with the dilemma of retirement. But I want to finish by highlighting some recent accomplishments from his last event, TI 2026, if this really is to be his goodbye. Going into the International 2026, Sumail's Nigma Galaxy were only rated as a middle-tier team, but they radically overperformed their ranking. In the group stage, they took 4 consecutive shutouts, even beating the soon-to-be champions, Team Spirit, 2-0. Based on their rating, the odds of this feat were about 500 to 1 against them, but Nigma stepped up and put the doubters to shame. Against the best in the world, Sumail tied his career best win streak from any the international performance, and his 5th best win streak of all time. That's not all. In his match against the soon-to-be champions Team Spirit, just days before they won the Aegis, Sumail set 3 all-time career records in a single game with Nature's Prophet. In what very well may turn out to have been one of his last competitive games, Sumail hit his best ever single game GPM, hero damage, and tower damage records as a farming carry.
And then going up towards top. Willow is looking for whatever she can get, but Sumail standing strong. He's body blocking her, keeping her in place.
He can't run away.
Very good body blocks. The micro.
So good for Sumail.
And then today was a good series. I don't know, something went wrong. As far as for the team, I'm not sure. This is probably my last event.
If you made it this far, I want to say thank you for watching. A like, a comment, and a subscribe do a lot to help my channel. If you're new here, I do mostly heavy analysis videos on Dota 2 or other games, and you can support this channel, help make sure I'm able to continue making these videos for as little as 75 cents a week over on my Patreon. Speaking of which, I have a little ritual to thank my financial supporters, the ones who make these videos possible, and they are Catalan Stan, Where Did My Ants Go? Dota 2 PowerPoints, Not Tat Dat, Rose Nightfleur, A Eyeball, plus the friend of the cow tier supporters White Wind 664, Hannes Leak, Adriel, Friendly Fire 137, Mikhail B, Svenge, and Anonymous Anna's Hummingbird, and Saint Catfish, along with all of the other supporters you see on your screen now. After a long TI and a lot of fantasy Dota calculations, I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks here, but I'll be back in September with more videos. During that time, I'll be doing little posts on Patreon, so if you're a subscriber, or even if you want to subscribe to the free tier to make sure you get the updates, please go over there and consider taking a look. And King, on the very unlikely chance that you're watching this right now, I just want to say good luck in what comes next for you, and you're going to be missed.